It's a story that's known to millions. The rebel athlete who put faith before sport. But in a converted church in Edinburgh, Eric Liddell's niece can give a fuller picture.
He sprang forward again and he went pounding after the opponents. They were about 20 yards ahead by then.
The man the West calls an exceptional athlete called China his home.
If you're born in the country, you die in the country and you've lived half your life in the country, you might not be that might not be your home country, but by golly, you've certainly contributed to it.
Born in Tianjin in 1902 to Scottish missionary parents, Liddell spent a happy childhood in China before returning to the UK at the age of 6, growing up to make a name for himself on the running track. He was a passionate racer, but he had other passions too. Eric Liddell's faith was extremely important to him, both in his life and in his achievements. He worshipped right here. It's called Holy Corner here in Edinburgh, and his presence is still here to this very day. There he is. Those who honour me, I will honour. It was this sense of honour that, in 1925, a year after his Olympic triumph, sent Liddell back to the country of his birth at the age of 22, working as a science and sports teacher at a missionary school in Hebei province and marrying his wife, Florence. When Japan began its war of aggression, Liddell's family fled to Canada, but he remained. His work at the missionary shifted from pastoral care to caring for the sick and wounded.
I think he would be a modern-day community activist who was there to support the needs of young people, families and communities. So I think that's why they remember him. And they remember him as one of their own.
In 1943, Liddell was interned at a Japanese camp in Weifang. For 2 years, he cared for fellow prisoners under grueling conditions, helping local Chinese villagers smuggle in food. In a letter to his wife, he spoke of suffering a nervous breakdown, and he thought he might have a brain tumour. It turned out to be the last letter he'd write. On the same day, 21st of February 1945, just 5 months before liberation, Eric Liddell died at the age of 43.
He had a very short life in some ways, and it was cruelly cut off, but boy, he packed a lot into it and achieved more than I'll ever achieve, and I'm much older than him already. But I think he must have had a lot of joy in his life too, although there was a lot of sadness.
What I've picked up from Chinese people themselves, he is celebrated, is revered in China, and in some ways I would say he's better remembered than maybe in some parts of the UK. But we're working hard on that, I've got to say.
Part of that work, the Eric Liddell Community, an Edinburgh-based care charity and community hub. So in effect, he's not just a Scottish hero, he's a British hero, and he's a Chinese hero.
I would agree with that. Yes, I think he is, and that's a good way to describe him.
Remembered far and wide, but especially in the country he loved best, by the people he helped the most. Jeff Moody, CGTN, Edinburgh.